Back in the hills of Tennessee, only girl I
Hello, and welcome to Lorelei's Country Tour 2024. So David has built this entire trip around the heart of country music, and what we did is we started here in Tennessee at Dollywood. Anyways, yes, we're at Pigeon Forge and in Tennessee, and so we went to Dollywood. Lifelong dream. So it is amazing. So on day one, we went to see her show From the Heart, where you see from the very beginning when she started very humbly singing at church and her family, all the way up to still how she's reinventing herself and singing today, and all the different aspects that she went through and coming back to her roots. We also listened to the Smoky Mountain String Band, and we did a big tour because we're just kind of getting used to the place, I would say, on the day one. Absolutely stunning. And there was a festival on called Flowers and Food, and we found out from a tour guide that they actually store all of the pieces, the iron pieces that they create the flowers in Montreal, Canada. So that was really an amazing thing. Mm-hmm. And David had a milkshake because he was going to go for the ice cream.
Not ice cream, but it was so hot that the ice cream would have just melted instantaneously. So I switched to a milkshake, and it was quite delicious.
Yes, it was very delicious.
Now, for anybody that doesn't know what Dollywood is, and I'll be honest, a year ago I didn't know what Dollywood was either. It's comparable to Disney World, or from Canada, Ontario, what we're used to is Canada's Wonderland. But picture one of those venues in the Smoky Mountains. Like everything, it was all up one side of the mountain and down the other. It was just an amazing location and really well done. We're not big ride peoples. Well, people. I actually like a ride, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But
that's day two.
Day two?
That's for day two.
Okay, we'll have to wait until we get to day two. But again, it was just phenomenal. You could spend a day walking around, listening to the music, enjoying the food and the surroundings, right? But we'll talk about the rides later.
Perfect. And what we also learned is why here is because Dolly grew up here in the Smoky Mountains, and this was her way to respect and give back to the community here, and build up from here locally. And it's really, I mean, the Smoky Mountains are absolutely stunning. But then night one, we went to the Hatfield and McCoy's Dinner Theater. So that was very, very funny. Mm-hmm. And the dinner was, I mean, there's no way anybody could, I mean, they had fried chicken, pulled pork, corn on the cob, coleslaw,
mashed
potatoes, homemade biscuits, desserts, and then sweet or unsweetened tea, and I guess you had a cola, but and it was, you could eat as much as you wanted. We were just, it was incredible. But the show was very funny. It was very cute, and it goes back to the whole Hatfield and McCoy's and as feuding families. Mm-hmm. But then what was funny in the end, of course, I don't want to be a spoil alert here, but the matron and of one family and the senior male of the other family were really in love from years ago, and so they kind of all made up in the end. So it was kind of cute. They kicked water on you, which I don't think Dave really liked.
Well, lots of dancing, lots of singing, and yeah, they flooded the stage and decided to do a
like a two-step in a sense.
Two-step.
Two-step with a kick.
two steps, and the third step was them kicking water on the audience, and we were in the second row from the front, and we got wet.
We got wet.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Now, on so again, so from like, morning to night, we came back, we relaxed, and then start day 2. So we knew what to expect now on day 2. So it was very smooth in and out. So Dave really wanted to do some of the rides, there's one ride from 1980, one of the original roller coasters, wooden and it's really high, like you could see as the backdrop of the Smoky Mountains as you're coming in the parking lot. It was so high. Anyways, we did that. It was called the Thunderhead.
And maximum speed on this, 53 miles per hour, and on one of the downward and corners, you were pulling 2 Gs. Amazing. And it was a 2-minute ride, although Lori thought it was 2 hours.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And
she
then
did well. She did well. She's a trooper.
I did it for him. Like, seriously, I totally just did it for him.
Okay.
And then, secondly, so then I said, what do you want to do next? So he wanted to try another one, and it was called the Great Bear.
Great Bear.
The Great Bear.
It's one of the longest. There's 5 roller coasters at Dollywood. And a lot of people say they're better than Walt Disney World, but this one was, I believe, the second longest. Right, and also to Lori's credit, in going on these roller coasters, the one stipulation was it couldn't do a full circle, couldn't do a loop. Right, so neither of these roller coasters, they get up on the side, but they wouldn't do a loop. Right, and the Great Bear was, I think, top speed on it was about 45 miles per hour, and very smooth compared to the chattering of the wood roller coaster, but it was good.
It's great. Loved it. Every second of it for him. So now, then we moved on. So then we actually had someone come around and be a guide to us. We bought tickets for the Flowers and Food Festival.
Mm-hmm.
So that was amazing. So so first of all, we went back and revisited some of the flowers and some of the things we missed. But the tour guide was amazing. So we got to try they have fresh foods that they make. Now, they had a restaurant there that they accommodate gluten-free. They accommodated organic aspects, and some of it was very local food, so it isn't your typical.
Mm-hmm.
So like for lunch, as an example, I had a yam, with fresh, beans and guacamole and stuff on it, right? And that's what I had for lunch. David had burger and fries.
Cheeseburger and fries.
Yeah.
Very healthy.
He went healthy.
Very healthy.
But the food festival was really neat because so when Dolly first opened it, and we got all the little stories as we were going. So when she first opened it, all they had were sort of like hot dogs, burgers, she said, and then kettle corn. And so we went to this guy who makes kettle corn, and it was amazing, phenomenal. And this original cauldron that he had back in the 1980s. Mm-hmm. And they actually make it with soybean oil.
I'll be back.
Okay. Instead of a peanut oil, they did it with a soybean oil for anyone who might have allergies. And they also had it, they actually put sugar in it and a bit of salt. Then we tried their fudge. They have an actual chocolatier and people who actually make it, and they come up with all these brand new, different, way out there kind of fudges. So we had a little taste. They also make specialty lemonades, so they had a specialty lemonade as well. And then there was yam French fries.
I call them sweet potatoes.
Okay, sweet potato French fries. But the really interesting is they made this like homemade creamy white sauce for it, and then they put like a pound of bacon on one small dish, and Dave's like in heaven eating that, and that was like as part of your thing. But then what was really amazing is not only did we sell these amazing flowers and the food of the season, but also the tour guide took us to places like we hadn't even seen yet. So we actually saw a replica of Dolly's house when she was growing up. So her mother actually came in and helped her and her sisters decorate it exactly the way that they remember growing up. So her original house is still standing, but it's dilapidated. So she built a replica inside the park. And then there was the church. Then there was what was called the Dolly Parton experience. And so she actually built a replica of what was downtown for her. Her first movie theater, her first cheeseburger was at Red's.
Yep.
Red's. Who was the grocery store owner? Dan.
Oh, I don't recall.
Anyways, she made a small replica exactly of the town as she recalls it. It's amazing. Her tour bus was there. And then she's built sort of an on-site where her wigs, her wardrobes, her jewelry, her shoes, her outfits are all in one section.
Mm-hmm.
And then in another section is, again, all of her albums, all the gold-plated, it was
a tribute.
Incredible. And her music played everywhere. She's so diversified and so talented and so multifaceted. It was, to me, amazing. And I remember my sister, both my sisters, Sissy and Lucy, growing up, I remember them, like, with my dad and mom and just singing songs, every weekend, and a lot of it, with this music. So it brought up a lot of memories, and so very exciting and very good to be. But then, tonight...
Oh, no, hold on.
Oh, you want to say something else? Oh, your train.
No. Oh, yeah. We were going to take a train ride. So I was told by a couple of the guys that work there that in the U.S. there are only 3 coal-fired steam locomotives in existence. 2 of them were at Dollywood.
And she owns them. Yeah.
And she owns them. We were going to go on the train ride, a 25-minute ride around the full grounds, but it started. There was chance of thunderstorms, so they canceled the 3 o'clock and the 4 o'clock ride. We needed to have the 4 o'clock ride in order to finish it and get back to the trailer to get changed to go to the show tonight. But I also wanted to talk about the 3 ladies that we listened to.
The Lonesome Roses.
Yes.
The Lonesome Roses. Beautiful. They sang at a replica church. They were amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And that's, the schoolhouse too. Mm-hmm. We saw a replica of her schoolhouse when she went to school, so she built a replica of that. Like, it's everything. What we also learned from the girl, the tour guide, is, Dolly comes, 4, 5, 6 times a year. Every time there's a new experience, every time she comes up with a dream or thought, then people build her dream or thought, right? And then she comes back and then sort of acknowledges it and does a little bit of a tour. And so she visits often, but absolutely everything has a personal touch from her or a personal thought. And then the girl said that that Dolly takes a picture with every employee every year, and how amazing that is, right? Mm-hmm. So she's really genuine, really nice. Everyone loves working for her there. So it was nice to even hear those stories, right?
Yeah. And then tonight?
Oh, tonight we went to the Comedy Barn. Now, I suggested this to David, and it was so nice to see him laughing because these guys were hilarious. It was improv in some aspects. So they They were teaching macaws how to do all these fancy tricks. That was interesting. This one gentleman, you know, was dropping and juggling, and you know, he taught a dog, you know, to tap. So there were some interesting, cute things. There was a gentleman doing, I don't want to say the
With the whip and the balloons.
Ventriloquist.
Yes.
Ventriloquist. He
With
was
the chimpanzee.
with the chimpanzee. That was hilarious and funny. But probably the funny, and really good music in between, but probably the funniest is this gentleman was improvising, and he would bring 3 people up from the audience. He did it twice and did 2 sort of skits with it. Absolutely fall off your chair funny. You know, he called these people up to do all these silly things, make fun of where they worked. And there was one gentleman who he called up and he says, "You're the villain and you have to do this." And the gentleman had
Face of a chimpanzee.
yeah, but it was like it was blowing, and he was a bit of a hefty gentleman, but he did it on purpose. He wore this shirt on purpose as a, and he would make his tummy, you know, do this, and it actually looked like the chimpanzee was blowing. Right? So it was so funny, and it wasn't. I mean, but even the guy running the show and doing the comedy act, he says, "I couldn't have wrote this any better." So the guy really played along, and he was hilarious.
It was really like, you know, turning back to you know, many years ago when you had a variety shows that had comedy.
Well, I'm much younger than you, so I don't remember that. Why don't you tell everyone about that?
It was a good show. It was a mixture of dancing, tap dancing, music, singing, right? You know, and it's just you know, something like well, you wouldn't know these shows anyway, so why talk about them? Anyway, what else?
Well, that's it. So, I mean, all I'm going to say is, and we don't want to keep you too long, because we're going to come back and tell you a little bit more, because next we're on our way to Laurel, Mississippi, and we're going to see Ben and Aaron Napier of Hometown.
Yeah.
So this is the country tour. Until we see you again, we'll let you know all about how that leg of the trip goes.
So right now, we're staying, I'm looking at the road here, we're staying at the Sun Outdoors Kitchen Forge. It's a great campsite, lots of variety, clean, quiet, right? We really enjoyed our time here. But tomorrow morning, we're up, we've got a 7-hour drive down to Laurel, Mississippi from here, and we'll have to get up early and get packed. So anyway, hope you enjoyed today's video. Tune in next for our hometown visit, and thanks for tuning in. And as always, I'm Dave.
And I'm Lorilei.
Right? Take care. We'll see you soon.